When I let myself feel, all I feel is lousy.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden.
An authentic look on struggling with mental illness. I am The Wiz. Alright everybody, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this review, please leave a like at the end of this video. And if you want to watch more, please subscribe. I do 3 reviews a week on this channel. Alright everybody, I'm here to review the 1980 family drama Ordinary People, starring Donald Sutherland, Mary Tyler Moore, Timothy Hutton, and Judd Hirsch, directed by Robert Redford. Therapy can be a rather difficult thing to put on screen because of how intensely personal it is. I, like many others in this country, have had to utilize mental health services in my life to work out problems I've had trouble dealing with. And after starting therapy, I've always had an issue with how movies and TV have portrayed therapy and therapists. But there was a show I think did a great job portraying this dynamic, the HBO series In Treatment. It's an intelligently crafted show that gets intensely personal, but has the feeling of distance and contemplation that makes it feel authentic. I mention this because Ordinary People, Robert Redford's Oscar-winning directorial effort, comes the closest to what In Treatment did. The most impactful scenes of the film have to deal with teenage Connor, played by Timothy Hutton, and his therapist, Dr. Berger, played by Judd Hirsch. Now, to people who have never been in therapy, these scenes might be rather frustrating or dull. It has a lot of repeating questions, and other things that may feel odd to those on the outside looking in. But Ordinary People does one thing so right that many who portray therapy does wrong. It's about the patient talking, not the therapist departing consistent wisdom. Therapy is portrayed way too neatly in a lot of entertainment, way too conversationally back and forth, where a patient says something and the therapist who acts like a personal Confucius to the patient. This movie portrays the therapist as a vessel of listen and react. It's more about getting the patient to open up, not prying him open like a lockbox. What the film also portrays very well is the feel of isolation when dealing with depression or mental illness. Ordinary People does an excellent job of showing how people react to someone who's been through or is going through a mental health crisis. The film emphasizes how the people around Connor are reacting to him and how it affects his well-being. There are really 2 reactions that are emphasized real well: overabundant support and cold, distant indifference. On the former, characters in this film tend to act overtly positive and supportive in a way that feels disingenuous. Despite it being a way to empathize with Connor, it comes off as discomforting and performative. The latter, however, deals with people's frustrations and discomfort with something they can't understand. This leads to people who only look at how it affects them, leading to being combative with Connor. This leads to Connor's isolation, which gives this real feeling of authenticity to the story. It feels like the writers really know what it feels like to deal with mental illness. It's this isolation and the refuge in Berger's office that makes this film work so well. I gotta say, it is really hard to actually do this in any type of entertainment. Because, again, a lot of people, when they look on the outside, I'm trying to be supportive. They're trying to be supportive. Why is he acting the way he is acting? And this film does the best job I have seen in the movie, portraying exactly how it is like to live with a mental illness or live with depression and not be able to actually connect with people because of how people react to them, even though it's quite understanding as to why people react the way they do. I think a lot of people, when they try to empathize with somebody, they tend to act a little performative, even though they're not trying to be performative. They're trying to be a little extra nice to make the person feel more comfortable, feel better. But with someone with a mental illness or who's dealing with depression, they kind of feel that performativeness, and it leads them to make it feel inauthentic to them. Like they're trying to placate that person in a sort of way, which makes them feel worse about themselves. The same as the other side, too, where people are cold and distant. With Connor, for example, in this movie, he isolates himself from a bunch of people because the things that gave him joy beforehand don't give him joy anymore. And that's a really hard thing to actually discuss with somebody who isn't able to actually discuss that, especially in this movie, which are teenagers in this film. Robert Redford's direction in this film, I think, is what really helps everything seal in. He does a great job in keeping the film centered on Connor, while also giving the film no clear villain. Every character in their ways has something you can sympathize with, even if they act terribly. That's including the mother in this film, good lord. And it's his direction that perfectly balances the film to keep it from tilting in any other way. Performances are great in this film. I think all the performances are great, but really the best one is Timothy Hutton as Connor in this film. He does a really good job. It's a very heartfelt and devastating type of performance without it feeling very manipulative. But really the best strength that Ordinary People has is its sensitive yet realistic portrayal of mental illness and therapy. It's a beautifully performed film that feels authentic and dramatic, which is really hard to do with most films. Alright, so before I get into my rating, let's see what other people think about this film. Letterboxd users has it at a 4.0 out of 5. Rotten Tomatoes has it at 89% fresh. And this was nominated for 6 Academy Awards at the time that it was released. It won 4, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor for Timothy Hutton, and Best Adapted Screenplay. I am giving this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I think this is a really good movie. And I haven't seen every film that is based on a character going to therapy or about mental illness, but this is one of the best I have seen in quite a long time. It's really striking when you see how therapy is in this film, and it feels like it gets it more than I think most films have tried in this, and TV shows as well. But in terms of performances, I think all the performances are great in this film, but Timothy Hutton is probably the best in this movie and deserved that Oscar. I think he was really good in this film. So overall, 4.5 out of 5 for Ordinary People. I watched this movie on Hoopla, so if you have a library card and it's supported on Hoopla, you can check it out there for free. I think it's also on Pluto TV as well, if you are really interested. Alright, so before I go, let me ask you a question. What is the best interpretation of therapy that you have seen in a movie or TV series? Let me know in the comments. Alright, and let me know what you think of the review. Thank you again for watching. See you guys next time.
You know, I used to figure you had a handle for everything. You knew it all. And I know that wasn't fair, but you always made us feel like everything was going to be all right. I thought about that a lot lately. I really admire you for it.
Well, don't admire people too much. They'll disappoint you sometimes.
Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like it. If you didn't, please subscribe. And if you have questions or comments, go ahead and leave a comment whether you liked it or not. It just helps, you know. If you want my written reviews, you can go onto my letterbox at IamThatWiz, or you can go to my website at IamTheWiz.com. Thank you very much again for watching. See you next time.